Level 1. Survival Mode. You're standing in front of the microwave at 11 p.m., staring at a frozen burrito, wondering if 90 seconds is enough or if you should risk 2 minutes and molten cheese lava. Welcome to Level 1. This is the tier where cooking means applying heat to something someone else already cooked. The skill set is minimal. Read a package, press start. Don't burn the popcorn. Tools are basic. A microwave, maybe a kettle, a single scratched-up non-stick pan that's been through 3 apartments. Meals here are instant ramen, cereal, scrambled eggs that come out somewhere between rubber and soup, and pasta boiled until it surrenders. Think college freshman with a hot plate or a bachelor whose fridge contains ketchup, 1 lime, and a mysterious Tupperware. The signature move is eating the same 3 meals on rotation for a decade. It sits at the bottom because there's no real technique involved. Heat goes in, food comes out, and seasoning means salt if you're feeling fancy. Nothing wrong with it. Millions of people live here happily. But it's the floor of the pyramid. Every other level builds on skills this one hasn't touched yet. Level 2. The Recipe Follower. At Level 2, you own a real cutting board and you've stopped using the same knife for onions, bread, and opening Amazon boxes. This is the home cook who can follow a recipe start to finish without setting off the smoke alarm. You can roast a chicken if the internet tells you 425 degrees for an hour. You can make spaghetti bolognese, chili, banana bread, a basic stir-fry. You've discovered that garlic exists and it changes everything. The kitchen has a few real tools now. A chef's knife, a wooden spoon, a sheet pan, maybe a cast iron skillet you're still scared of, but you're glued to the instructions. Deviate by 1 ingredient and the whole thing collapses. You measure everything, including water. Salt goes in to taste, which for you means whatever the recipe said. Meals look like the picture about 60% of the time. This is where most adults land and stay. It's functional, it feeds a family, and it's a massive jump from Level 1. The ceiling is low though because the moment the recipe ends, so does the cooking. Level 3, the confident home cook. Something clicks at Level 3. You walk into the kitchen with half a plan and pull off dinner anyway. You've internalized the basics, how to sear meat so it actually browns, why you salt pasta water like the sea, when to add garlic so it doesn't turn bitter and black. You can make a proper vinaigrette without measuring. You know the difference between a simmer and a boil, and you care about it. Your knife skills are decent. The onion gets diced in under a minute, and all your fingers are still attached. You're hosting friends now, Sunday roast, homemade pizza on a stone, a solid weeknight risotto that doesn't turn into wallpaper paste. You've bought a decent chef's knife, probably a Wuthoff or a Victorinox, and you sharpen it occasionally instead of never. Cast iron is your friend. You understand that fat, acid, salt, and heat are the 4 things that make food taste like food. Thanks, Salmon Nose Rat. The gap from Level 2 is huge because you're cooking with judgment now, not just instructions. You can substitute, adjust, rescue a dish going sideways. Recipes are suggestions. Level 4, the Serious Enthusiast. Level 4 is where the hobby becomes an obsession. Your Amazon history is 40% kitchen gear, a thermopin for instant temperature reads, a sous vide circulator, a Dutch oven that cost more than your first car payment, a pepper mill with adjustable grind. You've made bread from scratch, real bread, with a starter you named. You break down a whole chicken instead of buying parts. Because you've done the math and you like the stock you get from the carcass. You dry brine steaks 24 hours ahead. You know why. You've cooked through at least 1 intimidating cookbook, Ottolenghi's Jerusalem, maybe The Food Lab by Kenji Lopez Alt, or Julia Child, if you're feeling classic. Techniques enter the vocabulary. Emulsification, deglazing, tempering, laminating dough. Your pantry has 3 kinds of vinegar and 2 kinds of soy sauce, and you can explain the difference. Dinner parties are events. People request dishes, you might have a smoker. You've definitely made pasta from scratch at least once and posted about it. The distance from Level 3 is depth. You don't just cook. You understand why each step exists and what happens if you skip it. Level 5, Culinary School graduate. Now we're crossing into professional territory. Level 5 is someone who's been formally trained, Culinary Institute of America, Le Cordon Bleu, Institute of Culinary Education, or the equivalent grind of 5 years working the line in real restaurants. The 5 French mother sauces aren't trivia, they're muscle memory. Bechamel, velouté, espagnole. Tomate, hollandaise, you can produce all of them without thinking. Knife work is surgical. Brunoise, julienne, chiffonade. The cuts are uniform because uniform cuts cook evenly and uneven cooking is unacceptable. You can butcher a whole fish, break down a hog, fillet a duck, truss a chicken in 15 seconds. You understand plating as composition, negative space, height, color, sauce placement. This is the sous chef at a strong independent restaurant. The chef de partie running the sauté station on a Friday night with 200 covers. Timing is everything. 10 tickets up, 4 proteins on the pass, everything landing hot at the same second. The leap from level 4 is speed and consistency under pressure. A home cook can nail one great dish. A pro nails 100 in a row on a Tuesday at 8 p.m. while someone yells at them about the risotto. Level 6, Executive Chef. Level 6 runs the kitchen. This is the executive chef or chef owner at a serious, respected restaurant, the person whose name is on the door, whose menu the whole team executes. Cooking is only part of the job now. You design menus around what's seasonal, what your farmers have, what your regulars will pay for, what your line can actually produce during a rush. You manage 15 to 40 cooks. You cost every plate down to the gram. Food cost has to hit around 28 to 32%, or the business dies. You're doing R&D constantly, testing new dishes on staff before they ever hit a customer. Think chefs like Missy Robbins at Lilia in Brooklyn, or Kwame Onwuachi. You've probably earned a Michelin star, a James Beard nomination, a spot on a best new restaurant list. Your palate is calibrated. You can taste a sauce and know it needs 2 grams more salt, or a splash more acid, or another hour of reduction. You've developed a point of view. People come to eat your food, not just food. The gap from level 5 is authorship. A line cook executes a vision. A level 6 chef creates one and hundreds of people eat it every night. Level 7, 3-star legend. Level 7 is the ceiling of the entire craft, the 3 Michelin star chef running one of the roughly 140 restaurants on Earth that hold that rating. This is Thomas Keller at the French Laundry, Alain Ducasse, Massimo Bottura at Osteria Franciscana, Grant Achatz at Elenia, René Redzepi's Legacy at Noma. Dinner runs $500 to $1,500 per person, and reservations open months in advance and vanish in minutes. Every element on the plate. Every dot of sauce, every microgreen, every 62-degree egg is the result of years of R&D, entire dedicated research kitchens, and technique borrowed from chemistry labs. Spherification, rotary evaporators, dehydrators running 48 hours to produce a single garnish, sauces reduced from 20 liters down to 200 milliliters of pure concentrated flavor. The staff-to-guest ratio can hit 2 to 1. Sourcing is obsessive. A specific farmer in Kyoto, a single boat in Hokkaido, tomatoes from one hillside in Sicily. These chefs aren't just cooking, they're defining what the next generation of restaurants will look like 10 years from now. The distance from level 6 is that a level 7 chef doesn't operate inside the culinary world. They move it. We went from a frozen burrito spinning in a microwave to a $1,500 tasting menu built with the tools of a chemistry lab, the same act, dinner, stretched across a spectrum most people never realize exists. The strange part is that a perfectly cooked scrambled egg from any of these 7 levels can taste just as good as the last if the person making it cares enough. If you liked this one, stick around, there's another 7 coming.